you. And I'm more than happy to come down and share my thoughts in this area. It's an area that I'm very passionate about for personal reasons. Growing up for me, I had many challenges, but I found an outlet. My outlet was sport. I excelled in sport. I did pretty well in that environment, and it took me around the world. I travelled. So eventually I found I had to study academically as well, because I couldn't rely on a sports career in itself. I enrolled on my first course at a university in the UK. It was Loughborough Uni, 23 years of age. They called me mature age student then. I don't know what they call me now. And it was quite challenging to do university at that age because I didn't have much academia. Growing up was challenging. I grew up in an environment, we didn't have much. My mum got ill, Dad got injured at work, and it meant at 14, I know you guys have got pressure these days, young people have done a good job of putting this on, but we had pressure too. My pressure was coming home one day saying, you're going to have to find some work to help support the family, because we just can't manage. And trying to go to school and work in factory on the weekend was challenging, and the grades went down. And I reflect back on my time, never did one teacher actually approach me and say, you okay? Never. And to this day, I don't really understand why. If nothing else, there was more pressure put on me to do well. And there were letters going home, he's not applying himself. But I was working on weekends and sometimes after school and coming in late, and I was generally tired. And we were just trying to stay afloat, not to get evicted and live on the street, really. That's where we were, and that's truth be told. So academically, I suffered. So when I first started university, I was doing sports performance conditioning at Loughborough Uni, prestigious university. A lot of academic people were there as well. And I was quite embarrassed I didn't even know the alphabet properly. I didn't know a noun, a verb. But it still did not deter me to put my head down and study. And to this day, I've been a lifelong learner. I've carried on studying. And I've been very fortunate to write books. I brought some in. 3 were bestsellers, many resource manuals. I've been very fortunate to work in football at the very highest levels as a coach. I won many things. And I decided to leave football as a performance coach. I started working in care homes to help young people who had various issues, mainly around education, because I felt I wanted to do something that's going to leave some sort of legacy. And then I did that for a while and decided to leave and be a consultant, work with different organisations. But I kept my learning going, and I'm going to share some stuff with you I've learned over many years. I'm still studying now. I'm a lifelong learner. I've enrolled in another master's. People say, why are you enrolling in another master's for? Well, I want to study neuroscience. I'm due to start soon at the prestigious King's College and mental health. And I've studied many things over many years, many modalities. I combine them all together, and I combine the physical and the mental side. So I'm going to share a few things with you in the very short time that we have. I mean, this probably takes me a week to cover this sort of stuff, but I'm going to condense it to half an hour or so, as much as one can do and any of us can do. So what do you think I mean by that? The heart has a mind, the head doesn't understand. What do you think I mean by the heart? Well, think of the mind. We know what's right. People know not to smoke. They know not to eat certain foods. They know self-harming and other things aren't doing them good. They still do it. Okay? What is driving that behaviour? What do you think drives the behaviour? What drives behaviour? What has an impact on people's behavioural patterns? One, knowing what to do, strategy, but 2, also emotion, how you feel. Now, the speaker before me talked about how you feel about yourself is imperative. It's crucial. Now, I want to say, and I want to thank you for coming along, hearing what you've got to say, for inviting me. I'm going to get techniques tonight, because you've probably got an intellectual curiosity, and you've probably got an experiential curiosity of what I'm going to cover. I'm going to do some experiences with you, but what I would say, I can't treat anybody because treatment is based on treatment plans. So it's an educational seminar. If you do have anything going on in your own life, with any area of your life, around self-harm or anything you cover or touch on, I would really recommend you go through the proper channels, be it a GP or clinician. That's the way to go. And if you spot anyone who might be struggling, it might be worth nudging them and looking out for people. Looking out for people is really important, by the way, because one day it might be me, one day it might be you. Okay? So look out for people. The signs are there. The signs are there. There were plenty of signs when I was growing up. Going to school without food, going in tired, a lot of signs where they weren't picked up. I had an outlet. I had a coach who said, because I fell in the wrong crowd as well, it goes to me, if you apply yourself, you'll do well. I listened to that. And that was the idea that sparked the association, that sparked the behavior. Because you can have an idea. The idea could be you see your uncle smoking and you think it's cool, then you behave the same way. Or you could see someone else play sport and think that's pretty good, and you could behave that way. So the ideas are there. We generate ideas going forward. For me, the mind is almost like think of a conductor of an orchestra. Okay, you've got all these senses, you've got all these experiences that you have from day one. And you've got a part of the mind that orchestrates that into behavior. Okay? Just like a football coach or coach. The coach, he or she's got to manage all different types of people. Think how challenging it is to manage people as a coach. They come from different backgrounds, different culture, different beliefs, different values, all these things. So throughout your life, you've experienced all these things. And your mind is doing its best to channel that in a way for you to be as adaptive as you can be. And then you're being hit by what was mentioned earlier, the media. That's not really doing anyone any favours for the most part. Because they're putting stuff in your mind that isn't realistic. In the sense that a baby's born, what does the baby do when it's hungry? Okay? And you'll know if you're a parent, it'll cry. The baby cries, and the baby needs soothing, it needs love, needs affection. So you've got to ask yourself, at what point do young girls, or girls of any age, young boys, boys of any age, decide that eating, the association of eating, and it prompts a behaviour? At what point do they see? When's the defining moment or moments that take them to where they are? The anxiety. What's going through their mind from a thoughts point of view to develop this anxiety? This perception of themselves. So, is it biological? Is it environment? Is it psychological? My suspicion is a bit of both. Or a bit of all of the above. But what I would say, environment has an impact on us as well. Because if you were born, and that's why compassion is really important, by the way. Don't beat yourself up more than you used to beat yourself up, or anyone else for that matter. Everyone's just doing the best they can. And what I mean by compassion, if you were born in an environment where you had the most wonderful parents in the world, they were loving, caring, nurturing, they fed you, they watered you, whenever you cried, they hugged you and looked after you. If we read the journals, the statistics start that you're gonna got a good chance of turning out well, adaptive behaviour. So you the luck of the draw. If you're born in that environment, great. That's not to say people who are born in environments turn out to do good things. They don't all the time. But if we study science, it suggests that they would do. But that's not you didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose your social group. It was luck of the draw. If you were born in an environment where you had the most wonderful parents, about 2 years of age, the local gangster stole you because they wanted a child, and you were subjected to violence, abuse, aggression, would you be a different person, you think, than you are today? Or would you be a different person? My suspicion is you probably would be. And you didn't control the environment. So the environment has a big impact on us from a behavioural point of view, a belief point of view. And that's why I think, for me, when I used to work with offenders, people say, well, how do you work with people who've done the certain things that they've done? Well, I don't condone what they did. I never did, and never will. But what I would say, if anyone else was in the environment they were in, would be different. That's not excusing people, because people grow up in challenging circumstances and do good things. I'm just saying what shapes our reality. So, okay, we listen to music to alter our mood. Who likes music? I love music. I do a lot of music on iTunes, that sort of stuff, really. And it alters our mood. So we learn through experiences. I'm going to sort of throw some research at you, and I want you to think from a thought-provoking point of view. So according to The Guardian, NHS figures are showing that self-harming is going higher. According to a report of The Guardian, I read on an article, NHS figures show. Why is that? Young people, you know more than me, it's been a long time since I was young, 16, not that long, about 8 years ago I was 16, plus VAT. Yeah. Why is that? Why is it? If the research people are saying that, is there any reason that you can think of?
Maybe it's due to the fact that it's now broadcasted as a way of coping because of social media. The small number of people that it would have affected before is now broadcasted to others.
That's a possibility. we can't rule anything out. I don't think anyone knows 100% for sure, but we can hypothesize and research and learn more about that. It could be awareness, it could be a number of things, but ultimately it's a coping strategy. It's someone trying to externalize internal pain. If I've got internal pain, if I eat something that's off, food that's off, what does my body do? It tries to reject it. If I'm feeling emotional pain, I'm going to try and dissociate from it. I'm going to try and dissociate from the pain. So, for me, it's giving dissociative coping strategies for young people, or anyone of any age. You know? But that's another story for another day, and I don't have a lot of time to go into it tonight. But it sort of shows you that it's on the way up. Now, that's not going for the root cause, because we don't really know. No one really knows. It could be a number of things. The pressure of social media, it could be the pressure of modern day. But then people had pressure in the past as well. The generation before me and before me were fighting on the beaches all over the world, 17 years of age. So their pressure was pressure as well. But it's all subjective, isn't it? So I'm not going to compare people and say who's right or wrong, but what I would say is that it could be awareness. But if you look at the stats again, eating disorders as well. The priority article, research from Beaton Mind, says that eating disorders are more common than ever before. And why is that? Why is eating disorder? Why in this day and age we've got so much information, so much support out there, so they say, why is that on the rise as well? Any ideas? Anyone got any thoughts?
It's got to be connected to social media, because
yeah,
awareness of your self-image.
It's a possibility.
Because you're always in the public eye, even when you're not, sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I think it's a great point. It could be. I can't verify that at the moment, albeit I have done some research and have done some articles in the area. I don't think it's going to do people any good. Social media is a good thing to a point. It's useful, but it can also be a magnification of what's going on at a different level too. But it's going up, and that's the problem. Whatever the problem is, and if we can carry on and the stats I can throw them at you all the way, and here we go, another one on Telegraph, and they did some research as well, and they were showing that hospitalisation for young people with anxiety and things along them lines is increasing as well. For young people, anxiety. Now, young people, why is that? As a young person, if you're not happy and having fun as a young person, where do you go? Wait till you get to my age and you got, or anybody else's age, and you've got a few battle scars. And truth be told, that at 15 years of age, no matter what was going on in my life, I had a ball, and I'd go to the park and lose myself. So you've got to ask yourself these questions where, if I get a bottle of fizzy pop, and I shake it, what's going to happen eventually? Exactly. And what I would say too, if you don't mind me just a bit of paper, if I have a big sheet of paper and I rip one piece, you probably won't notice, will you? But if I keep doing that, what's going to happen? You've got a mess on the floor. So what I would say is, don't wait for the mess to happen. I've been in this field for a long time, and it's not a pretty sight, by the way. It's not a pleasant sight to see people hit the bottom of the barrel. It's horrible. It really is. Yeah.
Do you think maybe the numbers aren't changing? Maybe they've always been this way, but because so much
great point.
offer, more people are coming forward with it.
That's a good point. Depending on which research you read, which article you read, I can speak from subjective experience in my field. Many years ago, I didn't see as many young people as I'm seeing now. What I'm seeing now is more labels being thrown out there too, by the way. Back in the day, they used to be called AD, now it's called ADHD, probably be called something else later on. And that's not dismissing that because it's important, but what I would say, I don't treat the label. I map the individual's perception of reality and guide them to where they need to go, where they want to go. So for me, everyone's got their own talents. In my opinion, teachers do a great job. Being a teacher myself, it's a system that needs evolution, not revolution, because we have got technology that's gone so far fast. Now you try being a teacher and teaching young people who can Google every answer in the world. Good luck. They know all the answers anyway. But the only thing is that we learn from experience. So all I'm suggesting and implying there is that, we've got to have a balanced perspective. we can't attribute everything down to social media. There's many other demographics too that are important to look at as well. And people are looking at it. People are working hard around the clock to try and work things out. Because really, the reality is, I mean, what you guys are doing is great. It's phenomenal. Because I can assure you now, if the way things are going at the moment, and it's not just confined to this country, we're probably much better off than a lot of places around the world, in more ways than one. But as a result, if things keep going on the way they are, where do we end up? If it is what it is now, give it 10, 15, 20 years. Now for you guys that are younger, goodness me, if you can't enjoy the one life you've got, at least in this genetic form now, then where do you go? So for me, and I want to sort of take you from some stuff we can cover that can help around that, to help more adaptive. And I know we've got short time going along, but one thing I want to do before I do some techniques, I don't want to take, I know time is limited here, but think for a moment about events that happen in our life. It's our beliefs about the events. Okay, so let's look at a situation. Let's say you're walking on the, let's say you're at school and you walk down the school corridor, okay, and your best friend ignores you. How do you feel if your best friend ignores you? How do you feel? Yeah, what's going through your mind if your best friend ignores you? What thoughts are going through your mind? Yeah, exactly, yeah. How dare you, she? And then that can happen, a belief, okay? And we can personalise it. Why is she doing that, he doing that? What else do you might think?
I've done something wrong.
That's another we can think. And then as a consequence, we have an emotional feeling. How do you think we feel? Yeah, we can feel annoyed, we can feel angry, we can feel upset. And then the behaviour, what do we do behaviourally? Who's ever sent a text they regret sending on email? Yeah, we do, don't we? We do these things. And then we feel physically. How do you feel when you're anxious physically? And what I'm saying is that without asking the person, is that true? What else could be going through their mind? It could be going through their mind many other things. Maybe they were preoccupied. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe they didn't see him. Precisely. But we're living our life with these events going on in our life. It could be an exam. So what's going through your mind when you're anxious for an exam? What goes through your mind? What? Yeah, fail. And if I fail, what's going to happen? Yeah, no, you're right. All these things happen. So the exam, you start thinking, if I fail, it's not the exam, it's the minute you give the exam. If I fail, what's going to happen? I won't get in university, I won't get that grade, I'll end up living on the street. All these things go through your mind, you feel overwhelmed, feel anxious. It's building up, you behave erratically. So if you can manage your thought process, you've got a chance to be more adaptive. Because if you speak to your friend and say, did you see me? And I didn't see you, will it change the perspective? Of course it will.
It might.
They might have seen you. It might be the case. You might be right. They might have just blanked you. But then you can't control that. They might do. It happens all the time. But the point is that what you've got to think is that I can control one thing, but I can't control something else. But the chances are, a lot of things that we get worked up about, and this is research can back it up, many things we worry about never happen. And if they do, we can't do a great deal about that anyway. So what I'm saying, and what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is that the brain is malleable. We can train the brain. Used to say the first 7 years, child was father to the man, you were set for life. Now we know by doing techniques, and you guys should be doing it at school, by the way. And I know in this country there's been some great breakthroughs, because we know if you feel better about yourself, you're not too fussed about the friend not seeing you. You're probably going to send a text that's more polite. If you feel angry, and you're the victim, and you're angry, then you're going to react differently. The exam's the same. If you feel good about yourself in the exam, then you'll probably do better. So we spend so much time academically teaching people didactically, test the memory. We don't teach them the emotional side. Now, if you're going to go for surgery, God forbid, I don't wish anybody, you'd want your surgeon, if they haven't argued with their wife, husband the night before, to be emotionally intelligent. And you want them in a good place, wouldn't you? So really, they need to spend more time doing that. And the reason being is that, and this is, I won't get time to go into this, but you can see these are some things people struggle with: emotional control, setting goals. So the orchestra struggles. So the conductor struggles to pull all that together, the planning and all these things that people struggle. This is functional skills. If you want some information, I can email you, but I don't have time to cover it all. But you've got this battle consistently with the heart and the head. And we're struggling to pull it together. And you've got to bear in mind that, okay, the brain of a teenager, if I can sort of, because of time being of the essence here, okay, so the brain of the teenager isn't as developed. The prefrontal lobes of a teenager doesn't mature till about 22. So for the teenager who sees the other person ignore them, it has a bigger impact. Because the teenager feels the same emotions as the adult. The teenager feels pretty much the same emotions as the adult. They don't have the processing power as yet. But it will develop. And we can give them techniques, young, functional skills, to improve that part of the brain. That part of the brain that can hypothesize differently. Okay, so if you are a teacher, bear that in mind. If you're a parent, bear it in mind. Because you can rationalize with teenagers to a point. It can be difficult, but it's hard to rationalize. With a baby, you can't really rationalize. They're very Pavlovian, they start building connection, they're very implicit. Then by 3 or 4, when they get conscious awareness, if you've got 3-year-olds, you'll know when you go shopping, if it sets its goal on a chocolate bar and wants it, you're going to struggle. You can't have, I want it. But teenagers, you've got a better chance. So to explain that, you've got a chance. And bearing in mind, there's a part of the brain here called the amygdala. I don't have a lot of time to go into too much detail, but one of the amygdala's functions is to fight, flight, freeze. Okay? It's a very primal part of the brain. It's in the limbic system. Many years ago, before my time, we used to have dinosaurs roaming the earth. Okay? And that part of the brain would think, you'd pick things up through your senses, and you'd process things here, and it'd say danger. So if you saw a dinosaur, what would be the reaction, you think? Yeah, oh, you'd fight, you'd freeze. Precisely, exactly. But we don't have dinosaurs now, but what's the modern day threat? Well, it could be a bill, it could be an exam, it could be but you react the same way. And the brain reacts the same way, cortisol, same chemicals as it used to do all those years ago. So by understanding that, you start realizing that we have to dig a bit deeper in our processes to help people. Now, I don't have a lot of time to go into too much detail, but what I would say is that the prospect of the exam could spark a reaction. You could see an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend on Facebook, and that could fight, flight, freeze, adrenaline. You get anxious. Why? Personalized, emotional reasoning. Something wrong can happen. The exam. Will I fail? Will I not get a job? Will I end up unemployed? All these things is danger. We need to quieten that down. Because one of the functions is fear, response, and danger. Okay? And it's a bit like when you go to a store. You go to 10 stores and they treat you really well. They look after really well. At Christmas time, 10 stores look after really, really well. They give you a discount. They even make you a cup of tea and biscuits. But one mistreats you and they rip you off. Who's the one you go home and talk about? So there you go. So what I'm saying is that we can create experiences for people, but emotions aren't like a math equation. There's no math equation for happiness. A lot of the stuff that people do is very didactic in the sense that you're working on a part of the brain where people are consciously aware, but the unconscious is driving the behavior. The part of the brain that you breathe, your heart beats, you don't tell your heart to beat, you don't tell yourself to breathe. The unconscious part of the brain, and we can sort of get experiential shifts at that level. So, because we haven't got a lot of time, I'm going to take you from stuff that is quite useful for that. Because people, to alter the emotion that is in the music, they watch films. They even watch films they know what the ending's going to be. Who's watched the Titanic, by the way? But you know what's going to happen. The ship's going to sink. So why do you don't watch it for? Why watch it? You've wasted 2 hours of your life. But you watch it because you want an emotional shift. So, people do whatever they do. Coping strategies they have, if you could sort of make people aware, because we build these schemas, very briefly before I give you some techniques to work with that can help you in more ways than one. We build these structures of reality. What's real, what's not real. And that's the key to be able to have the ability to cognitively restructure your thought process to more adaptivity. Okay? So fire hot. If a child puts their hand in fire, they know not to put their hand back in there again. So we take this dog, for example. If as a 5-year-old, that was your best friend, and you saw the same type of dog 20 years later, what would your reaction be? You'd run over, you'd probably, yeah. If you got attacked by that dog, or that type of dog as a 5-year-old, and you saw the same type of dog 20 years later, how would your reaction be? And if you didn't know that dog, or had no experience of it, so you could walk your best friends through the park and your different experiences, and that's pretty much life, our thought process. Who's right, who's wrong? Okay? So, what I want to do a quick exercise with you, before we do some more exercises and you're on the way, is I'm going to cut every 30 seconds. I want to think of the first thought that comes into your mind. Okay? So, you can write down if you want to, it's up to you, but I'm going to cut the first thought that comes into your mind. Okay, so the first thought that comes into your mind, I'm not going to ask what it is, but yeah, I don't want to know. Yeah. Okay, so the reason I did the exercise was because we don't believe everything that we think. And what I mean by that is that they say we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. I don't know, I'm not counting them. We believe in some of the research. But it's probably not too far away. But most of the thoughts you had yesterday, you have today. And most of the thoughts you have today, you have tomorrow. So you've got to consciously make the effort to change. So what the woman did before, the exercises, the things that go through people's minds, I would say a good proportion, I would say of the 60,000 thoughts you have every day, probably about 70-80% are re-offenders. Yeah? So what you want to do is to be able to change. What we said earlier, to more positive outlook in life. Okay? So we'll give you a couple of stuff that you can do, which are quite useful. I don't have a lot of time to cover everything because of time. We should have time. But what you can do, one thing, I'm going to give you 5 minutes worth of exercises, so you've got something you can email me. One you can do is the emotional flood technique, to build a pathway in your brain. Okay? So I want you to focus on the emotion you want to feel. Confidence, happiness, gratitude, love, joy. And really focus on it. And if you come to closing eyes, you can do, and then really feel it. Go to the feeling. And by doing that, you are creating a pathway in the brain for that emotion, or you're strengthening one that's already there. Okay? And you can hold on for about 30 seconds, you get negative thoughts, let them sink around the atmosphere. I will leave you some of these techniques, by the way. Powerful technique. And imagine if you start this young. The younger you start, the more malleable you are for some of these processes, but there's never too late to start. But the younger you are, the stronger your default, so to speak, is. How you define yourself is key. How are you defining yourself? Makes a big impact. And think about how you're defining yourself. Who are your best? Really, really important, your identity. Take time for relaxation imagery. Exercise is key. It produces chemicals in the brain as well. That can help. Exercise. As long as you don't play sport against people who beat you, then that's a problem. It is for me anyway. It causes anxiety. And you write down the challenge you're going through and alter your perspective. So whatever you're going through, see it differently. And that can help rewire the brain too. Now, and not for everything, but for certain things it'd be quite useful. Okay?
Mind to just wrap it up there? Just
Yeah.
We've got 2 more.
Yeah, for sure.
things like-
Okay, and finally, keep a gratitude journal. Okay, keep a gratitude journal, and if you're not grateful for what you've got now, you'll never be grateful for anything you ever had. So, on a final note, take a moment to write down 3 things you're grateful for, and go to that feeling. And thank you, and do email me if you've got any more information.